It's very social, it's interesting, but it's possibly not the most interesting job I've done, and it's definitely not the most financially rewarding. I applied for a temporary job and got a permanent one. £23.30, you saved £2.78. How are you, darling? Not very well? Oh dear, 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 we'll have to sort that out.
Give me danger, little stranger, and I'll give you a piece. Give me danger, little stranger.
Polly is a larger-than-life person.
She's probably the loudest person you're going to meet as well. First thing in the morning, all you hear is Polly's voice. Regarding the customers absolutely love her. They actually, when the queues are like, you know, a mile long, they will go to that queue just to sit down and, you know, have a chat with her.
Haven't seen you for a while, are you okay? Yeah, no, that's not important. Absolutely, no, I understand. How's Mama? Good luck with going back to school Monday. She's decided not to work. No cash back?
No, thank you.
I've worked for Marks and Spencer's for 23 years, been here for 15, and I basically just work on the till, and that's where I see most of the customers and get to chat to everybody. And they either come to my till because I cheer them up, or I know all the offers. Because sometimes on a Monday morning you can have an old lady and I'm the first person they've spoken to since the weekend.
Customers, again, if they are of that persuasion, if you like, regarding healing, they do tend to gravitate towards her. But those that, again, not every. I think a lot of the customers are aware of that. But what they're more aware of is her personality, her very, very large personality.
I have experienced her healing when I was in a lot of pain with my arm. But she managed to cure it, and I'm really grateful. She has these extraordinary warm hands which you feel after she's left.
I've come into it with a headache, I've come into it with aches and pains, and she's actually, you know, done her thing, whatever she does, and it's gone miraculously. There's one time Polly said something to me while we were sitting in here, actually. She said that my gran was talking to her. And, you know, obviously I was taken aback by that, and I was like, oh, hold on, whoa, I wasn't ready for that.
I think that there is sort of this force outside us, much greater than us, but whether certain people have that ability to actually draw on it, I'm not sure.
Well, we're at Finchley Christian Spiritualist Church, which is a Christian and a spiritualist church. So we do all the Christian stuff. We do the Our Father, we have hymns, and then we do the spooky stuff. Thursday service we have pop songs, and on a Sunday it's a divine service, so we do proper hymns, usual hymns, the Our Father, and the address is like a sermon, but it's a little bit more light-hearted than a sermon. And then each night we have a different medium, and then we have Saturday night specials where we have evenings of clairvoyance.
Thank you. Please take a seat. I'll tell you this, and I've said this before on many occasions, this is the best, the most friendliest spiritualist church that I have the privilege of serving. And it's what you make it yourselves. Thank you all for what you do.
A lot of people, they'll come through in like a vision, like that 5 minutes after you wake up in the morning. It's not a dream, it's as real as you and I are, and it's almost a vision. Some people hear, smell and see. I have the luxury of doing all three, but not necessarily together. We always used to smell vinegar when my mother-in-law was close because she put too much vinegar on her fish and chips. It can sometimes be nasty smells, can't it, George? It can be any, you know, it can be manure to tell you you're on a farmyard. It can be any sort of smell, any sort of smell. I'm not questioning it anymore. I know what's going on. I know to trust them. I know if someone tells me to not do this or not do that, I do it. Because you know if you don't do it or don't listen to Spirit, God, whoever's talking to you, something will go pear-shaped and you will have to pay for the consequences. We meet, what, 3 or 4 times a year on a good year? We've met 3 times already this year.
This year's a good year.
So it's a good year on some levels. Your daughter is a very old head on young shoulders. Has she got a middle name after a grandfather or a great-grandmother of yours?
No.
She's got no middle name?
No.
Because it's like she's your great-granny come back the way she talks. And she's always been grown up from when she first started talking. She's always been grown up.
I can see that my daughter's like, she has done some things in the past which I can't really understand, which are very adult-like. Everything that she just said to me now rings true. She has no way of actually knowing about my family history as far as my grandfather is concerned. She has no way of knowing that.
I just say to them, I can only tell you what I know and what I'm hearing and what I'm being told. And if you don't believe it and you don't take it on board, that's absolutely fine with me. That's not my karma, it's not my problem, it's not my decision. It's absolutely yours. You've put the ball in their court and it's up to them. Richard Freegrad's headstone, who was my daughter's second husband, who died very tragically of a massive heart attack at 7 o'clock one morning. I can possibly say it was the most traumatic day of my life. Yes, I think I can, withstanding my father dying. And when my husband died, my stepdaughter got given the most adorable little container that looked like an Aladdin's lamp, and you would stroke it and something magic would happen. And it had a bit of gym in it, so she scattered him with Richard. So although we've done him in 28 other places, 28 other countries and places, we have a focal point to come to. 4 years before I met him, he had testicle cancer. That's why we never had children. He was given 6 months to live, but I didn't let any of the surgeons talk to him. I said, whatever information my husband is given, I want to give it to him. And I told him that he would get better, even though he was too sick for chemo. And he said, how long have I got? And I said, a good 2 years. And he made 18 months. He said, if my wife had told me I had 6 months, I wouldn't be here. I would have given up. People are opening up and being more spiritual. And people are actually maintaining that they are more spiritual than religious. And it's not how often you go to church, it's what you do when you go to church, and it's how you live your day-to-day life that's more important, far more important. Having lived with a stuntman for 20 years, I'd obviously lived off his adrenaline and his throwing cars off mountains and things. I think it was 2 years into head shaves and hot coals that I realised, of course I'm doing it because I'm not getting the adrenaline off him anymore, and I obviously still need this bit of excitement and this bit of whatever. So they were things that were always in my bucket list. I wanted to do them before I was some ridiculous age. So that's, I mean, I'm going to have a tattoo, and I've just had my belly button pierced a year ago, because they're all things I felt you had to do before you were 60, because I just felt they were slightly obscene after 60. And even though I'm not even recognising that I'm remotely 60, the jumping out of the plane and the hot coals and the head shave were all things I wanted to do. They were in my bucket list, and I did explain on Facebook one day that I am going through a midlife crisis, but I promise after especially the parachute jump I will then be remotely sensible, which possibly also might not happen. Well, everyone keeps on saying you've had such an interesting life, why don't you write a book? And I kept on getting messages saying you've got to do it, you've got to do it. And I don't want it just to be a book. I want it to be like a reference book. So at the back there'll be like information on angels, information on crystals, maybe some random Native American Indian prayers and things. I was going to do it something like corny, like The Real Pollyanna, because they've already had the book and the film, or what it's like to be a real Pollyanna, because being a Pollyanna means a crazy person. So yes, I don't know. If you listen to the words on Doris Day's Everyone Loves a Lover, there's actually a whole line where she says, being a right Pollyanna. And it's, in some dictionaries it'll even tell you, or name books, it means being a right crazy person. I think I've possibly lived up to my name. Kilroy always used to have these programmes, do you live up to your name? Is it a posh name and you got posher, or was it a mad name and you got madder? So yes, I'm sure I did.
Nothing in my dreams, just some